Welcome back to Football Daily, where today we look at 10 players firmly on the path to redemption. 10. Ademola Lookman. It feels like Ademola Lookman has been around forever, but the attacker only turned 25 last month, making his professional debut for Charlton Athletic days after turning 18 in 2015. The then England youth international would become a Premier League player little over a year later, following an £8 million switch to Everton. But he couldn't quite settle at Goodison Park, leading to a loan spell at RB Leipzig in January 2018, before joining the club permanently in the summer of 2019, following another goalless spell the prior season with the Toffees. However, he again failed to make the grade with just 11 appearances in 1920 and spent the next two campaigns on loan back in England with Fulham and Leicester. Last summer, Atalanta saved the now Nigerian international from his German nightmare, and he's certainly settled well in North Italy. A starter for Gianpiero Gasparini's side, Lookman is currently top scorer with 5 goals as Ledea look to improve on last year's 8th placed finish. They're currently in second, 5 points off top spot, meaning they might even have loftier ambitions than just getting back into Europe, and Lookman might well be the one to fire him there. 9. Edinson Cavani. He might not really need to redeem his career, but Edinson Cavani certainly deserves to see out his career on a high. Between 2010 and 2013, the Uruguayan international scored 104 goals for Napoli, and following his move that summer to PSG, would find the net 193 times over the next 6 years, before the emergence of Kylian Mbappe in the French capital brought his time with Le Parisien to an abrupt end. In his last season with PSG and 2 subsequent ones with Manchester United, Cavani scored just 16 league goals, a figure that the 35-year-old topped in every single campaign since his Napoli days. Realistically, he's unlikely to reach those heights again because of his age, but after less than 1,000 minutes at Old Trafford last year, it really did seem like his time at the top of the game was up. El Matador, who has 58 goals in just 133 appearances internationally, would swap Manchester for the Mestalla, putting pen to paper on a 2-year deal with Valencia. Just 7 games into his time in Spain, and Cavani already has double the number of goals he managed last season, with 4 to his name. It's a small reminder of just how talented Cavani was at his peak. 8. Alessio Romagnoli. Back in 2015, 20-year-old Roma centre-back Alessio Romagnoli had just cost AC Milan €25 million and was expected to be the future of their defence. With just 1 full season of first-team football under his belt on loan at Sampdoria, the Rossoneri had paid the 6th highest fee in their history for him, costing more than Ronaldinho and Zlatan. Romagnoli was solid, if not spectacular, at the San Siro, also working his way into the Italy setup with 12 caps, but his stock fell rapidly in 2021. A string of injuries and the introduction of Fikayo Tomori saw him displaced, meaning that when 2022 rolled around, a club unwillingness to deal with his agent Mino Raiola following the Gianluigi Donnarumma saga saw him leave on a free transfer. Now at 27, Romagnoli cast his eyes back to Rome to rebuild a career that still has a lot of life left to live. But instead of former side Roma, he joined boyhood club Lazio, quickly becoming a leader in Maurizio Sarri's backline, who have conceded just 8 goals at the time of writing this season, the second lowest in Serie A. If he keeps this up, Romagnoli could even be in with a shot of an Azzurri recall. 7. Joelinton. Cast your minds back to 2019 and Newcastle United were pretty certain they'd solved the future of their attack. The Magpies had just dropped a club record £40 million on Hoffenheim striker Joelinton, who was coming off the back of 20 goal contributions across all competitions, handed in their famed number 9 shirt and expected the goals to start rolling in. But that wasn't the case. The 26-year-old found the net just 6 times across his first 2 seasons on Tyneside and was widely labelled as a flop as his value plummeted. However, the arrival of Eddie Howe at St James's Park breathed new life into the Brazilian, with the former Bournemouth boss deciding Joelinton was better suited to a midfield role, and how he has thrived in that deeper role. Howe has commended his unique physical and technical skill set that made this positional transition so smooth, with Joelinton now completing almost 4 defensive actions a game, whilst his chance creation and dribbles per game are at an all-time high since arriving in England. Despite Newcastle's big money takeover, Joelinton could prove useful for a while yet. 6. João Mario. There's always a steady stream of elite players developed in Portugal, with clubs often paying big fees to sign the next big thing. And that was no different in 2016 when Inter Milan paid Sporting €45 million for a young João Mario, who had just featured in all of his nation's matches as they were triumphant at Euro 2016. But life in Italy wasn't easy for the attacking midfielder, topping 2,000 Serie A minutes once in 5 years, and he found himself shipped out on loan to West Ham and Lokomotiv Moscow, places where he'd impress but never find a permanent home. A third loan spell saw him play a role in former club Sporting's 2021 league triumph, but that didn't stop Inter terminating his contract that summer. Now 29, João Mario is at Benfica, and this campaign we're getting a real taste of the footballer people expected him to be. 4 goals and 3 assists in his first 10 league games is already the best output of his entire career, and having picked up just 10 of his 52 Portugal caps in the last 4 years, he's worked himself right back into the international setup just in time for the World Cup. 5. Josh Sargent. Norwich City always seemed doomed to relegation upon their promotion to the Premier League, but at least that allows new signings who didn't make the grade in the top flight to prove their worth at a lower level. That's definitely the situation Josh Sargent finds himself in, now in his second season at Carrow Road following an £8.5 million switch from Werder Bremen. The 22-year-old would only score 2 league goals in his first year with the Canaries, both coming in a win over the also relegated Watford. And after opening the campaign with 3 more goalless games, the worst was feared. However, fans needn't have worried, with the United States international scoring in their first victory of the season, and since then, the floodgates have opened. Sargent would net 8 goals in his next 11 matches, propelling him to second in the championship scoring charts, and also already becoming the most prolific season of his young career to date. It's taken a while, but in the event Norwich are Premier League bound once more, maybe they can finally rely on someone other than Teemu Pukki to provide the goods. 4. Antoine Griezmann. It's fair to say Antoine Griezmann is used to being the main man. He certainly was at Real Sociedad, earning himself a move to Atletico Madrid in 2014, again quickly becoming the go-to guy before his highly publicised switch to Barcelona in 2019. At the Camp Nou though, he failed to live up to the expectation of the €120 million transfer, failing to reach double figures in league action for the first time in 8 years. The Blaugrana's financial situation then saw Griezmann become even more of a burden, and they managed to loan him back to Atletico. But it was going to take a lot for fans at the Wanda Metropolitano to truly appreciate him once more. And if we're honest, that was over a year in the making. The 31-year-old netted just 8 goals upon his return and started this season as an irregularly used substitute as Barca and Atletico butted heads over the terms of the deal. Last month though, the clubs agreed to a €20 million fee. Griezmann signed on until 2026 and has reintroduced himself to Atleti with 3 goals in 4 games since then. It seems like he will be forgiven pretty soon. 3. William Saliba. He might be one of the first names on the team sheet now, but no one would have been surprised if summer 2022 would be William Saliba's last as part of the Arsenal setup. Although, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the huge £27 million fee they'd spent on him in 2019, the defender could have easily been forgettable, failing to make an appearance for the club in his first 3 years on the books, despite his young age. He was even left out of both the Premier League and the Europa League squads ahead of the 2020-2021 campaign, only featuring for the under-23s for 6 months before a return to France on loan with Nice. Last season, still on loan, but now with Marseille, Saliba will win Ligue 1's Young Player of the Year, and stated a desire to compete for a place under Mikel Arteta. And the 21-year-old has done much more than that. His long-awaited Gunners debut came on the opening day of this campaign, and he was described as virtually faultless, putting up performances belying both his age and Premier League inexperience. Never mind being on the path to redemption, Saliba has already recaptured the hearts of the Arsenal faithful. What a player. 2. Marcus Thuram. Since qualifying for the Champions League in 1920, Borussia Mönchengladbach's domestic standing has faltered somewhat, finishing 8th and 10th in the past 2 Bundesliga campaigns. 1920 was also Marcus Thuram's first season with the Fohlen, and his form seems to have risen and fallen with the club's performances. He contributed 18 goals as Gladbach finished 4th in his debut campaign, creating a buzz that his employers could look to turn a quick profit on the €9 million they paid relegated Ligue 1 side Guingamp the previous summer, with Arsenal amongst those said to be interested. However, nothing presented itself, and the 25-year-old remained at Borussia Park, where a succession of injuries limited the Frenchman to just over 2,600 minutes and 13 goal contributions in the league over the next 2 years. But this season, it's a different story. Back to full fitness and switched from his usual left-wing position to an out-and-out striker, Thuram has already matched his 2020-2021 output of 8 goals and 2 assists. He might be the new star of this Gladbach side, but if they don't improve on their current 9th place standing, he could well be the subject of more transfer rumours once the summer of 2023 rolls around. 1. Kepa Arrizabalaga. Chelsea and Kepa Arrizabalaga have endured a tumultuous relationship. The Blues made him the most expensive goalkeeper in world football in 2018 when they paid Athletic Club £71.6 million for him, and despite ending the season a Europa League winner, would make negative headlines after refusing to be substituted during their League Cup final defeat to Man City. 1920 saw the Spaniard make a number of high-profile errors, ending the season with the worst save percentage in the Premier League, leading to Chelsea bringing in Edouard Mendy as competition, a decision that ultimately limited Kepa to cup competitions for the next 2 campaigns. This season though, the change in management has given everyone at Stamford Bridge a fresh start, and no one has benefited more than Kepa. The 28-year-old has started every game under Graham Potter to date, kept 5 clean sheets in a row, and even went more than 10 hours without conceding a goal, looking a completely different player to the one in 2020. If his injury is not too serious, he's even in the frame for a surprise call up to the Spain squad for the World Cup ahead of David De Gea. And honestly, it's hard to say it's not deserved. So that was our list of 10 players on the path to redemption. Have we forgotten anyone? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We'll catch you later.